Okay, for the next problem, this one's a little more difficult only because we're going to use negatives, but everything else is the same. So we want to find the distance between this point here and this point here. And this point is -5, 2. And this point is, you're going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, +4, and you're going to go down to -7. So 4, -7. So those are the 2 points we want to find this distance. So what we're going to do is, in the event we didn't have a graph, we're going to use the distance formula. And again, the distance formula is equal to plus or minus the square root of x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared. What we're going to do now is we're going to identify the x's and the y's, and then we're just going to plug them in and solve. So the first thing you're going to do is, if we have our 2 points, which are -5, 2, well, this is x sub 1, y sub 1. And the other point is 4, -7, so this is x sub 2, y sub 2, because this goes with, it's a way to identify the x and the y values in 2 different points. So if I just said x, you wouldn't know which one I was talking about. You wouldn't know if I meant the x in the first point or the x in the second point. So that's why we use the sub 1 and sub 2 to distinguish the difference between the two. So we're going to go ahead, plug it in. So again, let's make sure we keep the square root sign, because if you forget at the end to take the square root, the distance will be incorrect. So it's plus or minus x sub 2 is 4 minus x sub 1, which is -5, that's all squared, plus y sub 2, which is -7, minus y sub 1, which is +2, and that gets squared. So we're first going to do this. 4 minus -5 actually makes them both positive. We just change the sign. And 4 plus 5 is 9, plus, that's actually squared, plus -7 plus -2 is -9. So in parentheses we have -9, and if we square -9, it's -9 times -9 to get 81, plus 9 times 9 is 81, and we want to make sure we keep all of that underneath the square root sign. If we add 81 and 81, we end up with the square root of 162. If we use our calculator to find the square root of 162, we hit second, we hit the x squared button because right above it is the square root button, and that's what we're changing it to. And then we're going to type in 162, hit enter, and the answer is 12.7, because if we round to the nearest tenth, it's 12.72. So we wouldn't need to bump up the 7. So 12.7, and remember it's plus or minus 12.7.